see. All right. So today, I know everybody's running their businesses. You guys are making things happen. It's the holiday season. Things are going on. But I want to play sort of like a game with you guys. Okay. Because I don't do these meetings just to talk and hear myself talk. We want to create measurable, consistent results, right? That's the key in business. So there's two things that I notice most beginner entrepreneurs do, or most beginner real estate investors do. The first thing that they do, it's called MMA, right? You know, I did mixed martial arts, but that's not what I mean when I say MMA. They do, specifically when you're first starting a business, money making activities. Okay, money making activities. Those are things that are going to be things that you're doing now that are going to directly impact money landing in your bank account, right? It's like what I call money making activities. And then there are also another activity that I notice a good group of entrepreneurs do when they get started. And instead of money making activities, they do what I call getting ready to get ready activities. They're just getting ready to get ready, right? We've talked about this. They're building a website, they're making business cards, they're looking at design, right? They're looking at all these things that don't produce revenue. And if it doesn't produce revenue, guys, in the beginning of your business, in my world, it doesn't matter. Right? Before you get all fancy smancy and you got a website and you got these designs and you've created this tool and that tool, none of that matters. Remember in Mark Kohler's class, you are still in startup mode until you've made at least $1 of profit. Okay. So every week, you want to look at what you're doing, the action steps, the stuff that you're doing on a day-to-day business. Because I talk to a lot of you guys, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs like, oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. But you're busy doing things that don't really affect the bottom line. Does that make sense? So, and a lot of times, like, people will get started with their classes and they just have their W-2 and they're like, I just watched Mark Kohler's class and I got to get my trust set up and I've got to get my LLC and I've got to do this and do that. And I'm like, that's all great, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter unless your business is producing revenue. So right now I've got, how many of you guys are hanging out with me today on the holiday season? We got Chad and Chris and Centrell and Drakkar and Eric Sanders and Jovanka and Nelson and Matthew, Jessica Sanford, Tony, Sao Chin. So this is what I want to know from you guys. I just want you to unmute yourself. So remember, I don't come here to just talk. I want you to unmute yourself and give me one thing you did this week that is directly going to produce revenue. Okay. And I need your help in the chat box. Whoever comes out and they tell me what you did in your business. And then we're going to either say MMA, money making activity, or GRR, getting ready to get ready. Money making activity or GRR. Okay. Money making activity or GRR. Because what I'm trying to help you guys do, and I don't want to make anyone feel right or wrong, many people in our group are just doing crap that's not making them money. They're making t-shirts. They're doing all kind of crap. And it doesn't matter because your business isn't making money. So what I'm going to have you guys do, and it's okay, we need to call each other out because remember, failing is key to business. I need you to fail forward. But if you're doing crap that's not making you money, what I would like for you to do is stop that. Does that make sense? So I'll start as always, right? This week I put out ads, of course, right? But that wasn't, for me, it wasn't a money making activity. I did 5 follow-up calls, and out of those 5, one person got enrolled in our group. All right, that's what I did. So what's something specific? And there's no right or wrong. I want to know what you guys are doing now in your business to help produce future revenue. So who's going to jump out there? Tell me what you're doing. And then the group is going to either say MMA or GRR, getting ready to get ready.
I'll go.
All right, Drakar, there you go. What'd you do?
Yeah, so I obviously I put out created more ads, and I actually went around and looked for people to, well, I spoke to people, mainly, like, I would say, well, I went to banks, I went to different agent places and just found leads. And I
Okay,
did,
perfect.
yeah. So yeah, I went there and that was this coming week. So I did invite them to the Saturday's intro. And I did like an opinion type of script to get them
Love it.
to come there. So yeah, so I got them to come, and I'm gonna be looking to follow up with them tomorrow.
So here's the question, Jakar. When are they coming? Thursday or Saturday?
Oh, they came to the Saturday.
They came to the Saturday. How
And
many?
I followed up to, it was just well, I invited 3, 1 came.
Okay, invited 3, 1 came. So all right, here we go, guys. Put it in the chat. Is that MMA or GRR? Put it. I want to know from you guys. Was that a money making activity or was that getting ready to get ready? No. Okay. Yeah. That was a money making activity because what Drakar did directly correlates to creating revenue in his business. Dude, I love it. I love it. Now I'm going to keep you accountable because that one that came, we want to talk about it. Okay, because you want to keep doing things that are going to produce revenue. Because remember, guys, you want to make money and then use what Renatus is teaching you to reinvest that money in wealth building activity. All right, who's next? Who's jumping out there? Unless nobody did nothing this week. So we're gonna
go.
All right, go for it, Chad.
So despite everything I got going on this week, I was still able to make 10 calls today. I only got in touch with one person. Hopefully they said that they'll be on tomorrow's VB. And then I got to follow up tomorrow to try to get them to the intro.
Perfect. All right, type it in, guys. What Chad is doing? Is it GRR or MMA? What do you guys think? It's a money-making activity. Yeah. If you stay consistent with those things, it's going to produce results. All right, who's next? What else are you guys doing this week? Doesn't matter what business it is. We want to differentiate from getting ready to get ready and making things up to actually taking action and doing things that are going to make you money this week.
I got a follow up on the calendar for Friday at 2 p.m.
All right, that's a money-making activity. Oh man, this group is gonna be making money this week. And if you're not making money, either your conversation sucked or the way you approach there's you got to pinpoint what's working and what's not in every business. Eric, you're unmuted. What'd you do this week for your business?
Well, what I've been doing more aggressively is I've been trying to work on leads or bringing leads, more leads or options for leads. And it seems like what I'm having problems with is I'm getting a little frustrated with I can't quite be able to contact the leads. I'm just not hearing back from them. I did the marketing to send out things and I'm not hearing back from them. So I'm like, well, where do I go? And that's really what it is. I have been aggressive with that. I kind of now then came full circle in understanding creative financing. So it's like I'm ready. As soon as something comes, I'm ready to get in and do what I need to do. But I haven't been able to get anybody to call back yet. So
okay, so that's good. Now he's doing marketing, but he's not getting anyone to call back. Now, in your brain, if you're putting a marketing message into the world, but no one's responding to that ad, what does that tell you? Your marketing sucks.
Right.
Okay. So, and there's no right or wrong, but it's like, okay, I'm not getting any responses to that. So you have to try different things until you get a response. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I love it. Right. And he's just trying to feel out what's working. And that's fine. Okay. Who's next?
Nelson.
Hello, everyone. Been creating ads, sending off ads, and responding to inquiries, and waiting on final inquiry so I can get a full name and number and get them registered for at least a Thursday or Friday call this week.
Have you talked to anyone on the phone, through text, or email?
Just email.
Okay, here's a question. How many lead generation sources do you have working for you right now?
I have one lead generation source on.
Not enough.
Yep.
You need more.
Yep, and I yesterday I started on another social media platform to create my our business account. That way we're not flagged as spammers.
Okay.
I'm waiting to get cleared so I can get into the ads manager and start sending off a campaign.
Perfect. Guys, remember, you need 5 to 7 lead generational sources in any business. Any business. My rental business, my flipping business, wholesaling business, your ICM business. You need 5 to 7 lead generational sources, bringing in customers while you're sleeping. And we start teaching you guys that with the Eventbrite, with the road signs, with the word of mouth marketing, with creating a list of people in your warm market. All of these same things work for your real estate business. How do I know that? Because I've done it. I'm telling you, I've done it with every business. I launched a small e-commerce business where I hired some virtual assistants and they're doing stuff there, and I've got some passive income coming in. I bought a cleaning business, right? It's all real estate, right? But all of these things, all of these businesses that we own now, I'm telling you, it's the same exact thing where you got to lead generate, and then you got to pick up the phone, you got to make calls, you got to do sales. And then once you've graduated from making that revenue, then you can automate it. Does that make sense? All right. Anyone else? Who's done some, what other actions have you guys taken in your business right now? Who's coming out next?
I'll go next.
Go ahead and
Whoever that was, just put it out there.
That was me.
All right. What's up, Michael?
Well, for my business, I send out I have email campaigns going out every day, and I send connection requests in Facebook and LinkedIn. And I'm also, like today, I created some content for the brokers that I'm training for them to use for their prospecting.
Okay.
And I just entered a application into the system for commercial property.
I love
just
it.
Before this. So,
right? Because he's doing a lot of advertising, and then advertising leads to a result, right? This is how everything works. Cool. So now you're getting that system put up. Now you get different, remember, income streams coming in, and then you use that income to reinvest. Or you use the skills that you acquire while you're learning to deal with people, right? I learned these skills. I acquired these skills after getting all of these no's, and I use those skills to raise private capital. You guys feel me? You see how it all comes together? All right, who else? What else have you guys done in your business this week? And just be transparent. What else are you guys doing? Because I want you guys all making a ton of money in 2023. I don't care what it's like. We're all business people. I want you all making a ton of money in 2023. But if you're doing things that don't matter, that don't make money, it's pointless.
This is Sharon. I'll go. Can
Okay.
you guys? I have been doing, the thing for marketing. Putting ads out, responding to ads, responding to people when they respond to my ads. Sorry about the background noise. And I've also been evaluating. I've evaluated at least 2 properties. I want to do a little bit more of the property evaluation.
I love it. I love it. So those are money-making activities because she's evaluating to make offers. She's connecting with customers to help grow our group, because the bigger the group, the more deals, the more money we all make. It's just a positive. I keep saying this is a positive feedback loop, right? When I found Renatus, I compared it. Did I show this to you guys? I want to show this to you guys. Check this out. So I saw this the other day and I was like, whoa, I'm so glad I found Renatus. Let me see if I could find it. Give me a second. Hopefully you guys can see my screen, but let me X some of this out. I don't know if I showed this to you guys. I'm getting all these notifications. All right. I do want to, I just opened my computer. So check this out. So right here is a picture of what businesses cost, right? Like a Subway franchise, guys, just a franchise fee is $15,000. The investment before you make any profit is between $116,000 and $300,000. I don't know if I showed this to you guys last week, but businesses are expensive. But what Renatus does is you can start learning different ways of building six-figure businesses with none of this crap. So I don't know if I shared this with you guys, but this is powerful. So let me stop my share. Okay, so guys, I think I've heard enough from what you guys are doing, but what I want to hear is that every week you're doing money-making activities, not just kind of, when I first got into this business, I was building a website and I was building the system and I was doing all this stuff, but guys, none of that stuff was making me any money. And I was just like, thought I was smart, but I was still broke. And this is what I realized this week. I was really thinking about this, and I want to talk to the team about this. So with all of us, we all have an ego, right? I don't know how spiritual any of you guys are, but there's the egoic mind. We all have an ego. And with ego comes resistance. You ever, like, when you're doing business in your mind, just be honest with me, and maybe I'm just kind of in my own spiritual world, but like in your life, have you ever known, like, deep down inside, all the right things to do? Like, deep down inside, you know, you got to make calls. You know, maybe you got to take your classes. You know that even with your health, like, maybe you feel like your health is declining. Like, you know, you have to work out, but you don't do it. You ever have things in your life where you know that these things would be good for me? Like, you know it intellectually, you know it in your heart, but for some reason you still don't do them. You guys ever have experiences like that? Well, guys, what I want to tell you guys is we're all the same. We all have experiences like that. Now, there's a difference between the people who succeed and get what they want out of life and those who give up and they fail and they wimp out. It's our ego. And it's the right of, like, in our heart and in our mind, we always want to be right and not wrong. Right? When I'm having conversations with people, it's always like, oh, I want to be right. I don't want to be wrong. That's your ego. But when you start learning to let go of your ego and do the things that need to be done, you're going to start seeing success. I'll give you guys a bunch of examples. Like, when I first started, I thought sales was horrible. I never wanted to make a sales call. So in my heart and in my mind, I felt this resistance. But that resistance kept me broke. Does that make sense? That resistance kept me stuck. So when I found Renatus, I was fearful. I was scared I had to spend money. I was getting into my brain, but that was my ego, because my ego wanted to say, oh, if I do this, I'm either right or wrong. All of society is built to make each other think that we're right or wrong. But really, it's you versus you. So what I want you guys to do this week is just pay attention to when your ego stops you. I don't know if I'm using the words right. It might be the ego or resistance. Anytime you notice internally that there's some resistance there, I'm going to encourage you guys to have the courage to do it anyways. When I started Renatus and I spent this money that I didn't have and I was making less than $30,000 a year, my ego was fearful, but intellectually, I knew it was the right move. Does that make sense? I talk to clients all the time, all the freaking time, where their ego gets in the way of their success. In relationships with me and Yas, like, we are both two, like, alphas, right? But in my marriage and in my business, I pay attention not to my own ego and my own resistance, because I know I have to overcome my own resistance to make it to the next level. But I also pay attention to the resistance in other people, right? Like, sometimes, like, I meet people, they're super smart, they have all these things going for them, but their ego just won't allow them to excel to the next level because they're so afraid of being wrong. We talked about this last week. Like, right or wrong doesn't matter. What matters is how you create your life and what you want it to be like. In my intro, I say this, it's all about a life by design instead of a life by default. So the one message I wanted you guys to just really try to get this, and I hope I'm saying this right. Throughout your work week, with your relationship, with your health, I want you to pay attention to the resistance that you give yourself, because your biggest enemy is you. And I know you guys know this subconsciously. Maybe you don't, we don't say this in words, but there's this thing that every human being goes against. And this thing is the egoic resistance. And if you can overcome that resistance that you feel in your day-to-day life, then guys, you are going to reach levels of success that you never even knew were possible. If you're afraid to make the call, that's your ego. If you're afraid to spend money in an investment that you know will bring you returns, that's your ego. It's like, and I've dealt with my own ego so many times, because as an MMA fighter, you're egotistical and you think you're good and you're doing this and that. And then you get a reality check. Well, guess what? In life continues to give us reality checks. And you got to take a look at what your results are, right? I'm like, hey, let's be logical. Well, you know, these are my results. So if someone's telling me, well, Mary, you're not doing something right, I'm not making them right or wrong. I'm taking a look at the information, and then I'm coming back and I'm looking at what I wanted my life to be like. So if you're not getting the results that you want in your life, it's because you're giving in to your own resistance. You're getting in your own freaking way. And so I meet so many people with amazing knowledge. I meet people with amazing upbringing, amazing parents, amazing everything, right? You ever wonder why all these rich people's kids don't do anything with themselves? There was no, I don't know if that's a good example, but there's no like, they're not, everything's given to them, so they're not really working for anything. So we're in a good place. God is on our side. I don't know what you guys believe in God, but I feel like things happen for a reason. But if we don't pay attention to the resistance within us and we ignore it, what most people do is they ignore it. They'll ignore it by drinking. They'll ignore it by watching Netflix for days and days and days. They'll ignore it by watching TV. But if you do the things that are uncomfortable, that your mind and body are resisting, that you know in your heart that it's the right thing to do, then you're going to start living a better life. You're going to feel better. And I've experienced this in my life because, man, there was so much resistance with everything. There was so much resistance with me picking up the phone and connecting with people. There was so much resistance with me getting in front of a crowd and speaking. There was so much resistance when me and Yas weren't getting along in our relationship. But instead, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to be with this person. It happens. I'm real with my team. And it's like, oh my God, this person's crazy. No, you got to get over that resistance and take responsibility for your life. We're adults. So if you're not getting the results that you want out of your business, out of your relationship, out of your health, it's because you're not facing the resistance that the ego is giving you. Oh, I know I'm going deep today. I'm going real deep. I'm going like down the rabbit hole. This is some spiritual stuff that people don't talk about. But if you notice that you want a certain goal and other people have done it, but you can't do it yourself, it's because you're fighting yourself. And you have to overcome you before you can help others, if that makes any sense. So I wanted to mix and match. My talk for today was, guys, I want to really see you guys getting into money-making activities. I see so many people that don't have $700 in their pocket and they're learning investing. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. You don't have any money and you haven't raised money, or you haven't learned how to provide value to the world. So you got to take a real hard look at where you're at, what you want to create, because we're all creative beings. We got to get over the resistance that we naturally give ourselves and then drive forward. And so the year's getting ready to start. It's January, guys. You can have anything you want in the world. We're living in the most abundant time that I know of. But there's so much fear in society right now. And let me give you some examples. Like I talked to Anton and Mary Brooks, and hopefully they don't mind me dropping their name. When I met Anton, he was so scared of everything. Now he's making over $150,000 a year with his Airbnb business. He was scared to put his essentials on his credit card. But I had to fight his resistance because as leaders, we have to influence people for the greater good. Does that make sense? I talked to Rob Dayfield the other day. He just bought 300 acres right here in Virginia, and he's going to be doing this huge project. But when I met Rob, you know, he was giving me all this resistance. So you're going to deal with your own resistance as a businessman or a businesswoman, but you're also going to deal with resistance of others. And if you can't get comfortable with your own resistance, what makes you feel like you can get comfortable in a closing conversation, getting resistance from another human being? There's levels to the game, guys. It's 5:30, but that's really I want to give this to you guys is throughout the week, throughout the holiday, if there's some goals that you want to accomplish, if there's some things that you do over and over and you're like, man, those things aren't good for me. Why do I keep doing them? It's because the resistance keeps winning and the resistance is inside of you. There's different words that people have for it. So be logical, be calculated, have a strategy, make smart goals. Remember, we talk about all these things and they keep adding up. As long as you're calculated, you could have anything you want in the world. And I'm not going to try to influence you to do this or that or the other. We're creative beings. I just want you guys to go out and get it. I get so excited in January, just like everyone else, for their health, for their wealth, for their business. But I want to see this team expand and do deals and make money. And remember, it doesn't matter about the money. It's about what are you going to do with that money to create a better quality of life? But you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, all right, well, shoot, this is where I'm at. And this is where I'm going, right? So every week, I'm glad that we get to meet and talk about what you guys are doing, because if you're telling me something every week, but I'm not seeing success, I'm not seeing the yield of what you're telling me, that means you're lying to yourself and you're lying to me, right? Not that it matters to me, because I'm going to keep winning. I'm going to keep building my business. I'm going to keep doing my thing, but like, I really care about my team and I want to see you win. So, I hope you guys had a super happy Thanksgiving. I'm so glad that many people in the group are doing money-making activities, but you've got to pick up the phone. You got to make those connections. You've got to make calls. You got to learn sales, right? First, you got to sell yourself, right? Then you got to be able to sell others. And then you got to be able to sell your business. And then you got to be able to sell your kids to doing what you want them to do, but it's all influence. You're an influencer, whether you realize it or not. And so I want you to first learn how to influence yourself. That's level 1. And then it's influencing another person. That's level 2. And then it's influencing a group. That's level 3, right? And then level 4 is this. When you're able to influence others when you're not even there. I read a book. What was his name? It's going to drive me crazy. I can't remember his name, but I read a bunch of books on leadership, but there's levels to the game. Just like when you get started in your business, maybe you have no money and then you make a little bit of money. And then that money starts to level up. But a lot of people get stuck in a level. Like, you ever met your friends and they've been doing the same thing for 15 to 20 years and they keep complaining that they don't get something different, but they haven't tried anything different. It was John Maxwell. Thank you, Chad. I love you. See, Chad, he's like a mind reader. Yeah, or maybe he's read his books as well. So guys, there were only 15 people on today, and I'm glad that you were on. Encourage people to keep getting on. Let's continue to connect. And let's continue to drive our businesses forward. And where you feel resistance, listen to your gut and keep doing because the difference between fear and someone who's courageous is the person who's courageous does the thing. So this week, do the thing that you're resisting. And I'm promising you, if you do it, it'll yield a successful result. Guys, thanks for joining us. We're going to keep moving every Tuesday. I'm going to keep talking to you guys if you need help. And, you know, I'm really glad that some of you guys have started to text me. If you've taken a class and you need help with something, we're a group, we're a community. We got each other's back. We're going to do a really cool training on goals starting in January, and let's keep each other accountable for what we say. Let's have each other's back. Let's be a real community. If your friend has a guest, Let's do 3-way calls, but let's continue to support each other in our success, because that's the only way that we're really going to build. You know, my goal, and this might be a crazy goal, but I want to have over 1,000 people in just our little group. Right now, we're about 350. I want to have 1,000 people doing deals, making money, helping others. And the only way that's going to happen is if you guys help me and we help each other, right? If certain people that I didn't meet or that didn't come into the office, they wouldn't be doing deals, or they wouldn't have been able to restructure their finances. If I didn't find Renatus, my mom and dad would still be working. So think about, you know, when you take a rock and you throw it into a body of water and that rock makes a ripple. Well, every single one of you are the rock. You're the rock. And we're making a ripple on society instead of us competing and taking advantage of each other. Like, we are a group, and we figured out a way that we can all do deals and business and make money without worrying about others getting taken advantage of. And I really value that. So team, nothing but love and respect. Go out and do money-making activities. That means something that's directly correlated to bring in revenue. Because remember, the more revenue you bring in, the more you're going to save on taxes. Then you start developing your investment income with your retirement accounts and your insurance policies. And then you start developing passive income with your assets. Remember, Mark Kohler laid it out. But many of you guys won't even get out of sole proprietorship just because you don't want it enough, right? All right, team. I'm done. I went 6 minutes over. We started 6 minutes late. So let's keep meeting every Tuesday. If me and Yas can help, we're just a text or a call away. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Much love. Happy holidays. See ya.